Fugaku Uchiha, Sasuke and Itachi's dad, has a Mangekyo Sharingan. Well, sort of. We only see his Mangekyo in a filler episode, which is not the most credible thing in the world as far as canon is concerned, but there is certainly something there. A lot of people really like his Mangekyo pattern, myself included. It looks pretty cool, and we have to admit this guy looks menacing with it. According to the filler episode, Fugaku awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan during the Third Great Ninja War after he saw his comrade dying in battle, though we never see him using the Mangekyo, not even once. He tells Itachi that he never really showed anyone in the clan that he had access to the Mangekyo Sharingan because otherwise they would have brought Naruto to him and asked him to control Naruto, releasing the Nine Tails and wreaking havoc in the Leaf Village so that the Uchiha coup could be fulfilled. Fugaku never really wanted that. He was forced to that position. He wasn't fine with just using a small boy to do so. Another reason as to why we never see his abilities is that he chooses not to fight against Itachi when the fatidical day of the Uchiha Clan massacre comes. He is not willing to go toe-to-toe against his own son, and therefore he simply lets Itachi kill him. Now, there isn't anything in canon that directly contradicts Fugaku having a Mangekyo Sharingan. When Itachi tells the story about Madara and Izuna, how they acquired the Mangekyo and then how Madara acquired the Eternal Mangekyo, he mentions that Izuna's eyes, when implanted onto Madara's socket, gained new light and then became eternal. The visualization of that is that strange monster with 4 eyes when they all acquire a Sharingan. In Itachi's case, 2 of those 4 eyes were blacked out because he didn't have Sasuke's eyes yet. He didn't have eternal light. Now, of course, you need a deep connection with the other person to acquire the EMS by implanting their Sharingan onto yourself, but the problem is that Itachi doesn't say they have to be siblings. He only says blood relatives. Now, maybe you have to be a brother or a sister of the other person, otherwise it wouldn't work. And Itachi only said blood relatives there because he felt like saying it. Honestly, that's my headcanon, but there are also other explanations as to why Itachi wouldn't have gotten Fugaku's Mangekyo even though it would have worked into making his Mangekyo an Eternal Mangekyo. The first one being he didn't know at the time about the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and only learned later while he was in the Akatsuki, and therefore he told Sasuke about that so Sasuke would implant Itachi's eyes onto himself when, in Sasuke's own mind, he won the battle against Itachi. There would be no reason for him not to do so, or at least to keep Itachi's eyes until he awakened his Mangekyo to do so. Another explanation is that maybe Itachi just didn't want to do that. He didn't want to soil his father's legacy by taking off his eyes. Maybe he was just completely morally against that. So there are reasons as to why Itachi wouldn't have done so. So considering that he does have one in canon isn't outlandish, it's just because it was introduced in a filler episode. And it makes sense, Fugaku was the leader of the Uchiha Clan, he's supposed to be strong, and we know that the Mangekyo Sharingan can only be awakened by particularly powerful Uchihas. But just how strong was this guy with his Mangekyo? Well, it's difficult to tell. He was a Jonin in the Leaf Village, which can definitely range from pretty powerful to extremely powerful depending on who you get, and he was the leader of the Uchiha Clan, so it's not crazy to say that he was probably one of the most powerful Uchihas. The only ones I see being stronger than him in the Uchiha Clan are Itachi and Shisui, really. There's Obito too, but Obito wasn't part of the Uchiha Clan or even the Leaf Village in that point of the story, so it doesn't really matter. We never really see Fugaku fighting for real, but he is said to be a vital piece for the Leaf Village during the Third Great Ninja War. Of course, not as grandiose as Minato was in that war, but still very important. And he was also thrown around in conversations when they were talking about Minato. He was even considered to the post of 4th Hokage. And of course, I'm not saying that he is stronger than Minato or anything like that, but they are probably somewhere close, at least in the same ballpark or tier of strength, especially when considering Fugaku has the Mangekyo Sharingan. That definitely gives him an edge against any opponents he's gonna face, and of course, Minato's not the easiest opponent should they ever fight each other, but I don't think Fugaku would have been disposed of in 0.2 seconds just like Minato does to every other opponent. Of course, that would depend a lot on Fugaku's abilities, his Mangekyo abilities most importantly, which we don't know what they were. We don't even know if he ever even used the Mangekyo Sharingan to begin with, because as I previously mentioned, he kept his own Mangekyo a secret from essentially everyone up until he told Itachi about it. But I think he probably experimented with it and imagine maybe when he went on missions after the Third Great Ninja War, he probably used that to get out of very difficult situations. Now, granted, he was the chief of the police in the Leaf Village, so maybe he didn't go to that many missions outside of the village anyway. Still, I find it hard that he never used the Mangekyo Sharingan even once during those 10 to 12 years or so between the Third Great Ninja War and his death. I mean, he would at least have tried it and get somewhat proficient at it if he needed to do something with his Mangekyo one day, but that doesn't really answer what were his abilities with the Mangekyo. This is all speculation, of course, but I think I have an idea. We have to analyze both Itachi and Sasuke to try and determine what Fugaku had. Itachi and Sasuke both share one ability of the Mangekyo, which is Amaterasu. Danzo even states, "Oh, you really are Itachi's brother, Sasuke, because you just used Amaterasu on me," implying that Danzo saw Itachi's Amaterasu, which he did in a light novel. Itachi uses Amaterasu to kill an Aburame clan member from the root and destroy his insects. And because we see this running theme of Amaterasu in this branch of the Uchiha family, it's probably safe to assume that Fugaku would have Amaterasu in one of his Mangekyo Sharingan. Naturally, he would have access to the Susanoo if he awakened both abilities in both Mangekyos, which is very likely. I mean, there's no reason for anyone not to do that unless they don't have one of their Mangekyos like Obito and Kakashi's. But as Fugaku had both Mangekyos, he would eventually awaken the Susanoo. Which color do you think his Susanoo would be, and do you think he would have a different weapon? I think a spear could be cool. We don't see really a spear. Shisui has like a drill thing in his Susanoo, but we don't really see a spear or like a lance, a very long weapon that's still melee in some sort. And for color, I would probably just go with yellow. Granted, Itachi's Susanoo was yellow. You may think it was orange/red, but in the manga, you know, the canon version is yellow. I kind of see Fugaku having the same color here. Maybe a brighter yellow, tending more towards white. But what about his second Mangekyo ability, other than Amaterasu? What would it be? I don't think it would be Tsukuyomi or Flame Control, because that's just the same abilities as Itachi and Sasuke had, and I don't think they would share everything. Fugaku's second ability would be different. We also know that the Mangekyo abilities that characters get very much reflect their personalities and the state of mind they're in whenever they awaken it. Tsukuyomi, it's this big illusion where Itachi can control everything, even time itself. Just like he was doing in real life, he was pulling off this big illusion of him being a terrible person that destroyed his clan and joined the Akatsuki, but he is doing that for the good of the Leaf Village. Sasuke gets flame control upon learning the truth about Itachi's sacrifice. He directs his hatred symbolized by the dark flames of Amaterasu. So Fugaku would probably have something thematic aligning itself with a character just like Itachi and Sasuke do. I would like to know what you guys would give to Fugaku, because if you want to know what I will eventually give to Fugaku, you'll have to watch my Rewriting Naruto series, where his two Mangekyo abilities will definitely make an appearance somewhere down the line. I'm not spoiling too much here. I kind of spoiled his Susanoo form, which isn't that big of a deal, but you're gonna see Fugaku in action. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, and thank you so much for watching.